Hello and welcome to episode 10 of In the Wrong Bed podcast. I am your host, Justin Weigler, and always with me is Jonathan Sokol. And today we're going to be talking about this week in the Premier League, what happened last week, and also a little bit of what's the kind of the story of the week is how the whistling was going on in Scotland and affecting that week. So quick review of last week. We saw Rob Cross, who was my pick to beat Luke Littler, absolutely choke.
I at least had him on a plus spread and got a win out of it.
I had him a little on a plus spread too, but I also had him to win over plus 210, I think, and that was just a excruciating loss, just from him just absolute cruising to just absolute losing his mind. by the last leg, he just like had enough. It seemed.
Yeah, cruising to losing. But he, anytime you're up 5-1, 5-0 on Littler, you never feel comfortable. You know, he can throw out the best 6 legs in a row of anybody, in darts right now. So that was definitely a tough loss. Tough to see Cross kind of blow it. He definitely had some chances to close it out and where he should have. So it wasn't all just Littler catching on fire, but certainly he did make things very tough. Yeah.
So and so it's not like he didn't have it. And it was his favorite double 18 too.
Oh, I know.
We missed it. And I just like shook in my head. I was like, oh no,
yeah.
you can't. You come at the king, you best not miss. Like he absolutely missed.
Yeah, let that be a lesson to all the kids out there. Don't go for double 18. It's only leads to problems.
I mean, I know we hate double 18 hitters. I know Cross is probably one of the best ever at it, but it feels like if you miss, he did miss outside, but once you miss inside, you're just causing problems.
Yeah. Unnecessary.
And speaking of unnecessary, let's talk about how like bad the whistling was last week, to the point where the PDC actually issued like hey, let's maybe stop doing this.
Yeah, I guess, and maybe I need to read a little more on the backstories with Gerwin Price, but any of the things that I've seen since I've been following darts here for a while, he seems like a nice guy. Everybody, the players all seem to like him. It's like, what has he done that have angered the fans so much?
This all stems from a match against Gary Anderson back in, I think, 2020, where I want to say it was the Grand Slam, but I could be wrong on which it was. I think it was but at any rate, like they kind of got into it a little bit on stage. And there was a lot of Gary backers there, obviously, because he just has a ton of fans. And then the fans just absolutely got on him. And ever since, he's kind of played the heel a little bit, which he doesn't like doing. And you're right. He's a really good guy, and I really like him. So I hate when people give him crap all the time. And it's starting to turn a little bit. It is starting to turn around a little bit. Like, I think people are starting to like him a little more, but it all stems from that match.
Yeah. So does that mean that Scotland dislikes him more than any other place just because they were defending Gary, I guess?
I mean, that's actually a good point. I didn't really think about that, but you're probably right. I think it's just a popular, these people latch on to stuff. And so it's popular when, hey, everyone's whistling, let's keep, jeering Gerwin Price. And so that's kind of what happens. I think the crowd gets in on it a little bit. And then there's just a bunch of followers, but he doesn't deserve that. And as far as the whistling goes, like, it really is unnerving in the middle of a throw to hear a whistle. Like, that's why people do it, to throw you off. And they really need to, this actually became a real big problem. It's been a problem, let's just say that. But it was a real problem. I don't know if you remember the Mike DeDecker, Luke Littler match where DeDecker was up 9-7. And and the whistling just got so bad. And it pretty much did cause DeDecker to lose focus and probably lose that match. Which of course we had money on him winning outright, and him losing 9-7 really kind of cost us.
Yeah.
But it was absolutely like a problem. And it's benefiting Luke Littner now. Don't worry, he will be around long enough to become the villain. He absolutely will.
At least some places, I'm sure. Maybe, yeah.
And you can hear it, especially when he's going to be the road. You know, everyone loves. And listen, I love the kid, good kid, and most people don't deserve, other than Mickey Mansell, don't deserve the whistling. Because he's just
Mickey Mansell.
He's just atrocious to watch. Like, he deserves anything he can to get him off stage quicker.
Yeah, I guess but what other sports does this type of thing happen, and is it allowed? Obviously, if like NBA, you're shooting free throws, fans can kind of do whatever they want, try to distract you.
College basketball too.
Fans, yeah. But at golf, there's a certain respect, but it's kind of a whole different environment, so I don't think that's really the same. But I don't know. Is it fair play? I guess and it sounds like maybe even the PDC thinks no.
Yeah, I don't think it's not. I don't think it's really fair. And also, you're in the crowd. If you're ever in one of these crowds and you hear it, like, it's annoying to hear. Like, it's not.
Oh, yeah.
Also, on top of that, you know, you want to see the best players do the best things. Like, why would you put them off?
That's what darts is about. Yeah, that's what the PDC kind of promotes, is that, and even the way that going to the matches typically is, it's like everybody cheers for good darts. That's what you cheer for, not really as much of an allegiance for certain players. So, I
mean, I think some people do it because they've got money on it, you know, and this is their way to try to distract them. I just think it's because it stands out so much. I think that's the problem. It's like darts players, they would always say they'd rather play in front of 7,000 people than 70, because, you know, you think there'd be more pressure, but the reality is the crowd kind of blends it out, the noise out. Whereas in a crowd of 70, you'll hear someone fart in the middle of a crowd, like and then be distracted that way. So, like, any sort of like distinct noise just distracts. Yeah, it would be like in the middle of putting.
Yeah, so that's my problem. I just need to play in front of 7,000 people, and then I think I'll start improving. Hearing too many things or too many ghosts around me playing at the bar leagues. So
exactly, but to the point where it's now the PDC is thinking, you know, okay, it's a problem. I mean, what needs to happen is this needs to be kind of self-policed by the fans. They need to go out and, like, you know what, point them out. What they should do is incentivize the fans to point them out. This is the problem. Like, you know what, you get a free pitcher of beer if you point out the guy who's whistling. All of a sudden, people will stop whistling.
Yeah, that'll do it. That's for sure, I think.
Yeah, like it's got to stop. And so I'll see if it's any better this week in Dublin. Not sure it's going to be, but, you know, we'll see if it gets better going forward, or if the referees, you know, they start pulling them off stage because of the whistling. That might be like the next step. Just like, you know what, we're not going to play until
it calms down. Yeah, that could be something that they consider doing. I guess he's going against Littler this week in Dublin, round 1.
Yeah, so I mean, that's not going to help anybody. But
no.
But you know, don't forget. You know, this is going to happen to, you know, this happens to all of them. Frankly, this happens to anyone who there's a large amount of either a support one way or another. So you're going to see that, I think. Yeah. But speaking of Premier League, so I guess we can probably start getting into what's going on this week and how the draw is. I know. Maybe we ought to just go down the list and see right now who we like. The first match is Humphreys and Bunting. Bunting's on a real cold streak, and he's going to start feeling the pressure, I think, of not winning a match yet.
That part that's true. Not having a Premier League victory, and then at a certain point, he's already played himself out of it if he doesn't start winning a couple of these first round matches at least. My preference is leaning Bunting. I just think it's gone too far with the line. It was plus 190, I think, when I first checked it this week. Looks like it's been bet down a little bit. So yeah, I'm on Bunting, money line, +1.5. Those are my choices for this match.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of these things. I think this is a match where I like Humphreys to win. I don't like Humphreys to win at that price.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
if you're forcing me to pick a game here, I'm probably taking Bunty in the +190, and I don't feel great about it just because I don't think he's played particularly well, and I think Luke has.
Yeah.
And starting to show up, and there's a lot of Bunting supporters out there. Like, I don't know what it's like in Dublin for him, but I think he hasn't played particularly well, and he was already feeling the pressure of the first two matches. Like, he feels like he has to kind of justify his being there. I don't think he does. I think he's absolutely deserving of being in the Premier League this year. But you can kind of tell he feels like he needs to put up a good show. And
yeah,
I don't know. I just like, if he doesn't get off the schneid soon, you're right. It starts getting late early.
Yeah. I think you made a good point. Maybe he is pushing a little bit, pressing. I don't think he's been awful. That's the one reason why I still am okay at this
he
point
hasn't been
picking
awful.
him. But although I'm not sure he's done well at the Players' Championships this week either.
I think it was the end of last year. He was kind of cruising along in the beginning of this year. He was really cruising along. He was throwing out a ton of plus averages out there. And he looked just like he was on the top form of his game. And he's just not on his top form right now. He's playing his B game. Your B game is not good enough in the Premier League.
Yeah.
It just isn't. Really isn't. Everyone is too good for that to happen. So I just think that he really does have to play, and you got to play your A game against Luke Humphreys. You just do. You like your B game is not going to beat his B game.
Right. He's bringing it pretty consistently now, putting up some good numbers. Maybe not his top game, but
yeah,
he's close. I could see him going on a run here.
Yeah, and I would. So that's just it. I don't like Bunting to win. I just like him better to win 35% of the time. I think he wins this game maybe 40 to 40, somewhere between 40, 42% of the time, maybe. I just don't see him. So I like the 190 bet on him. I just hesitate just because I don't think his confidence is there right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
What is what do you speaking his averages? What is his average supposed to be for this game?
All right, yeah. So something I wanted to do was do average picks this week. So for this match, we'll just throw out our reactions to the over-unders on the average. So Bunting 97.5. Are you going over under on that?
Under.
Yeah, I'm under on that. And
it's weird. We like him to win, but we're under on him on the average. Like, it doesn't quite make sense.
I guess not. I think it just comes down to the price. I think it was just too high.
Yeah.
It's kind of
I wouldn't be shocked if he throws over a 97.5.
Yeah.
And what might actually, weirdly enough, push him over the 97.5 is if he plays an A game Luke Humphreys.
Yeah.
You will get less shots at double, and it'll just drag the average up.
Yeah. So Luke Humphreys 100.5. That was his average last week, and he blew past it. So what do you think about this week?
He seems to be. I'd like to take a look at his history. I want to say over. I want to take a look at his history in first games in Premier League. I wonder if he seems to come out of the gate pretty well. A lot.
Yeah, they maybe lose some steam. That could be. I have this one's a tough one. I mean, well, for me, based on the numbers, it's not that tough. If you're looking at sort of his 1 month, 3 months, 6 month, 1 year averages, and it seems like it's an under.
Yeah,
the under, but yeah. Then again, he is kind of on a hot streak, and maybe he's been rising to the occasion on the Premier League nights so far.
Yeah, I mean, there's a different level of preparation, I think, that they do for a Premier League than they might do it might be just like another first round of a regular TV tournament that they would prepare for. So I do wonder, like sometimes maybe he might. It's an interesting thing. I think we ought to look at is just to see, how does he come out of the gates in the Premier League? It seems like he comes. It seems like the very beginning of his first leg is lousy, and then he ramps up pretty quick once he gets into the match.
I think you're right, because I feel like I've remembered betting against him and feeling like good early on. Oh, he might not have it tonight, but then all of a sudden,
yeah, his first leg isn't great, and then the rest of them are good. So,
all right. Well, next match on the list: Gerwin Price, Luke Littler. What are your?
I like Gerwin at the plus 210.
Yeah.
I think this is the thing with the Premier League is that everyone is good enough to beat everybody on any given night. So that's why I think we tend to lean towards underdogs. I think 210 of price is Gerwin Price is just playing very well right now. I think that's just too high of a price.
Yeah,
for him right now, even against Luke Littler, which got I hate betting against him.
As soon as we get to the plus 200 or close to the plus 200 range with the Premier League matches, I just feel like that's the sort of the line where even if it's the worst guy playing against the best guy,
Unless it's Peter Wright from last year.
Well, yeah, last year. But this year, it feels like none of the lines should really be going past there. A lot of these matches should be like 60-40, 65, 35% chances. So as soon as you start getting to that plus 200 range, the feel is just that you've gone too far. Yeah.
The one thing I always worry about though with Littler is that you do have to break him because you're probably not winning the bowl.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you've got to outbreak him before leg 10. And so Gerwin Price is playing well enough. I think he could do this. Like, I think his game's good enough. I just think that's too high of a price to pay. I actually think he might win this one. I don't know why. This is maybe the ploppy thinking in me. Is he just had a lot of good weeks in the Players Championships. He's been good. He's been good, like solid otherwise. So I think that's probably why I'm also. I think just 210's too high of a price for it, and that's why I like it.
Yeah, I didn't end up betting this one, but that's my feel is take a shot at Gerwin. No.
Yeah. What do the averages say that they have on here?
Right, averages for this one. So Gerwin Price 96.5.
Well, I like the over on that.
Yeah, me too. That's a hard over for me, especially you can even if Littler plays well, it's going to boost Gerwin's average. That's the
exactly
Littler effect. It's like he only gives you like 9 darts.
well, that's it too. How many? I mean, Littler, is going to pull out probably at least one, maybe two 12 dart legs.
Yeah.
So that means you're basically just scoring the whole time.
Exactly. So, yeah, that one's probably my favorite average of the week is the Gerwin.
Yeah, I do. I really like that. I really like the Gerwin over 96.5.
I did take that one. Let me just check the juice on that. I'm sure it's been moved upwards at this point. So right now, well, all right, I'm gonna have to get back to you on that. Sorry, all right.
I have it at minus 125.
Shocked. Yeah, it's
minus 115.
It's still
actually
minus 115 on each side. That's crazy. I'm gonna
that's an over.
See how to get more on that probably.
Yeah, that's absolutely we're gonna be hitting that.
Yeah,
96. Right. Oh, that's way too low.
And so Littler,
that's my favorite bet of the week so far.
Oh man,
actually,
Littler's is 102.5. That's where he's kind of been the last few weeks, and he's gone over it. I want to say both times for the first round matches so far.
Yeah, I still say under. 102.5 is just a huge standard.
It is. He scares me. I did not bet that one, but
I think the value's on the under here.
I feel the same way. And
But you can't be surprised if he throws out 103.
No.
If that ever gets to 103.5, though, that's
Oh.
definitely under.
And we
without
saw
question.
that some last
during the
last year.
Worlds.
Oh yeah, during the Worlds where they were putting some 103s on him, and that seemed like, yeah, we really went after that. There was no way you can expect someone to consistently go over 103.5. So
Yeah, especially not in a long format match. I mean, these are short formats, so he absolutely can go over. You're not shocked if he does, but I still think the value's on the under there. But yeah, the Gerwin over 96.5 is, that's
it's tasty.
That's a really, that feels like a really good bet.
I already maxed it, so I don't have any more outs for that one. That's
okay.
The one tough part.
Yeah, so we need to max it myself then too, somewhere else. Well, so then third match is actually cross Aspinall, cross minus 150. You think Asp has got to win one of these eventually, but I still like Rob Cross in this, even at the minus 150.
Yeah, it feels like Asp is at this like plateau where he can't, like, he was last year, he was playing pretty well for a while, then he had the injury, and since he's come back from the injury, he's steadily got a little better and better, but now he's kind of at this like low 90s plateau, or not, like 93, 94 average in my mind. He's not really throwing out high 90s or hundreds.
Yeah,
it's just not going to be good enough against these guys.
Yeah, it's not. And I want to see what the residual effects of last week are on Rob Cross. Like that you could tell that hurt him. You could tell he was bothered by the end of that match of what happened. So I'm interested to see how he reacts, if he just puts it out of his mind and moves on, carries on, or if that lingers a little bit. I don't. This is another match. I like Cross to win, just not at that price.
Yeah. So can I tempt you with the minus 1.5 plus money, plus 110? It's plus 120 earlier in the week.
That's
my play on this one. I like Cross minus 1.5.
I mean, value wise, there's no difference.
I know, but it feels better.
It's going to move about 60 cents away to giving up the leg and a half. Yeah, I would. Maybe. Like, I'm a big Asp fan. I keep thinking he's got to come through one of these weeks, and if he doesn't come through this week, he's going to be in real trouble. Yeah. I think not winning a match your first 3 weeks starts putting you down a bad path. So I don't know if he's going to enjoy that pressure or if he's going to be bothered by it. I'm probably going to stay away from this. But I wouldn't. This feels like the mind says the plus money makes a little bit of sense, but Cross has been consistently better than us, so there's a reason why he's minus 150.
Yeah, exactly. All right, averages on this one. Rob Cross 96.5. Thoughts?
I think under. I think he gets dragged down by Aspinall. Honestly.
Yeah, that's a pretty good line for Cross. He's probably one of the players that I view as most consistent and toughest to determine sort of over under on these, or his variance is low, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, like I think that's a fair number.
Yeah, it is.
That feels like a fair number. Like if it goes 97.5, I take the under. 95.5, I'm taking the over. Here feels about right.
It is. I would shade slightly to the over, but this one is very, it's
the only reason I would shade slightly to the under is because if him and Asp getting a
checkout battle,
getting in a bad checkout battle, it's going to drag the average down.
Yeah.
And you can see that happening. You can see them both missing a couple turns at doubles and having needing extra shots at it.
Yeah. So Aspinall's 95.5. I have that as an under for me.
Yeah, the way he's been, yeah,
Not
that's just
there.
it. Like I think I have him under as well on that, and it's shaded towards that too. I have minus 125, so
Yeah.
it is shaded towards the under on him.
Yeah, his numbers just aren't up 95 plus often enough right now. So
Yeah, right now he just doesn't seem to quite have it at the moment.
mm-hmm.
In our final match, MVG versus Dobie. This is Dobie plus 150 or 140 right now. Actually, I have him at. We got him at one. We bet him at plus 160 earlier in the week. I actually really like this. I like Dobie to win this one. I know I've been a little bit anti MVG, not for any real good reasons, but I really think Dobie's just been playing well. He won a Players Championship this week. Like, I do think he's been on recently. So I think he's playing better right now.
Yeah,
Than to be the underdog.
The problem with this one for me is, yeah, Dobie's playing well, but MVG's also been playing really well. Like last week,
he
came out of the gate and just was on fire. I think had like a 108 in the first round. So he was my pick to win it last week, and to me, this match also, whoever comes out of this match, I think is the best value. And we'll go over some of those picks later, but that's the best value for the week. This bracket, MVG or Dobie, one of those guys is making the finals.
This is definitely the soft side of the bracket.
Yeah,
the bottom half is definitely weaker, and yeah, I kind of agree. I do like Dobie to win this match though outright. I even at the plus 160, like I wouldn't be. You can't be surprised if he loses to MVG. I just think this is probably far more closer to a coin flip with the way Dobie's playing right now.
Yeah. All right. So for averages, we might have another one that you're gonna like here. Dobie 95.5.
Oh, over.
Yeah,
That's an absolute over for me. Yeah,
I like the over as well there.
Yeah, 95.5 is just too much.
Kind of surprised by that one. I definitely expected the Dobie line to be 96.5, and it doesn't have that much juice on the over. Minus 120 is.
It's going to get pushed up. It is going to get pushed up by game time. I guarantee you it will.
That one has to. His recent averages have been closer to 97. So yeah, I definitely like the over 95.5 for Dobie. Plus, add the factor he's playing one of the top guys, just in MVG playing really well. If MVG throws out another ton plus, then that's going to pull Dobie up a bit more as well.
Exactly, and I like both of them to play well this match. But Dobie's been so strong recently. I think he goes well over that average.
Yep. And MVG 99.5.
I think under. I'm leaning towards the under here. I know he's playing very well, and maybe Dobie drags him over by him having a 12 darter in there. But I think 100 average is tough. I think that's just it. Like having 100 average is not easy. I know that sometimes these guys make it look easy, but it's not easy. So, and for that, I think over 99.5 is probably just a little too high. I think I go under, but I'm not surprised if he goes on. I wouldn't bet this either way, honestly.
I actually would do the under. I do think, like you're saying, 99.5. If you remember, I was following these last season pretty close, and last season, every time it touched 100.5, I was, no matter who it was, Humphreys, Littler, MVG. MVG's never got that high, but the other loops, it always just felt like, man, that has to be an under, and did pretty well on that. It's just it's not as easy as they're making it look right now. With
not only that, but it's under like 100 and a half is a really high. Like to get above 100 and a half is really high.
Yeah.
But I think it's just that's such a high standard, like to consistently do. It's just difficult. Other than Littler, it seems like that's just incredibly tough to do consistently. And I think we did very well last year betting unders on the 100 and a half. And don't forget, like 180s, this is a bet people want to bet over.
Mm-hmm.
People like seeing the high scoring. They like seeing the high checkouts. They like seeing the 180s. And so this is another bet where it shades over because of the public betting.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is another reason to love these unders a lot of the time, because you know the public's going to want to bet over on it.
Couldn't agree more. That's something we definitely look at every week, and those are the ones that I want to bet a bit more. I know we said our two favorites were the overs here, but those lines do seem to be a bit off more than everything else. Usually we do favor unders.
I think, and I think the way the books are counting for maybe yearly averages, and then they'll let the public kind of put them into shape. But I just don't think the public's gotten to the Chris Dobie average yet. 95 and a half. I guarantee you that's going to be 90. We're recording this on Wednesday. I guarantee you by game time that's at least at 96 and a half.
Yeah. And I mean, typically the limits on it are lower, and so they might not even care that much on these lines. But it's a good way to maybe make a little extra money if we can identify some of these that are off.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. You're right. The limits are low, but it doesn't matter. They will get if they start getting battered on one side. I think they're going to end up. They'll end up moving the line. This like, I wish I could bet money this on just the direction of it moving. But I think there's going to be value definitely on the 95 and a half over.
All right. Do we want to go over the weekly odds to wrap things up?
Yeah. I think probably already where I'm leaning, but I already bet Chris Dobie plus 1,400 to win the night. I think he's playing incredibly well right now. He's on the bottom half of the bracket. Is the weeks you avoid the Lukes until you hit the final, and I just think that he's just been playing incredibly well recently. So I think 1,400 is there's a lot of value on the 1,400 plus 1,400.
For sure. That one is kind of surprising that they put him so high. But I mean, he's a dog in the first match, and I guess that really drove up his overall price. But having a good shot, I would say, to get to the finals and have a plus 1,400 bet, that's something you'd be happy to have. And then once he's there, even if he's playing one of the Lukes, you'd be in a great spot having the plus 1,400.
Yeah, I think he's going to be an underdog the first round, obviously to plus 150. I don't think it's as big an underdog as it should be, and I think this is where some of the values come from, because he will be probably around the next match against Crosp or Asp. He's going to be probably a slight favorite against Asp, and maybe it's even money. Probably even -1 fair coin flip against Cross. And so at that point, I think you're well into being able to hedge if he gets to the final. If you want to look at it that way, just because I think you're going to have more value in the 1,400. I see plus 1,600 also now in that he's going to be even if he's a 2-to-1 dog, he would be 2 or 3-to-1 dog, I think, against Littler. You'll still have plenty. You would still have value even on the first two matches, then hedging out on your final.
Yeah, for sure. So the other thing I mentioned, I mean, Michael Van Gerwen's plus 450. I remember I liked him plus 650 last week. He only had to go through well, he did have to go through a Luke, at least one Luke, and potentially 2 Lukes. And this week he only has to go through 1 Luke, and that's probably the reason why his odds have dropped from plus 650 to 450. He did play well too, so despite losing in the second round, he is still, in my mind, if you took just Dobie and Van Gerwen, then I just really think one of those guys is making the finals. So having either the plus 450 or the plus 1400, you'll be sitting on value when you head into that final match.
The only thing I worry about with he'll probably be a minus, or he'd probably be plus 180, minus 220 in the final against DeLuke. I think against Littler and a little less so against it. Yeah. So, I mean, the question is, do you find if he gets past the first match? I think we kind of agree he's getting past the second match. Although this is darts, you never know.
I know.
There's no guarantees in darts. That's for damn sure. And so I think, I do think there is some value here on him. I know. I'm acting like these guys have a bye in the second round, but yeah, these guys don't have a bye in the second round. I just like who they're up against. So yeah, I'm sticking with Chris Dobie, 14 plus 1400. You can find maybe even plus 1600 on DraftKings right now, if you're allowed to bet at DraftKings, which some people are not. Most people who have a clue are not. But if you are allowed to bet there, that's probably your best, probably the best odds at the moment.
So I only have one other thought on the weekly odds. Bunting being the highest odds was a little bit surprising, but not when he's got.
When he hasn't won.
I know.
He hasn't won.
When he hasn't won a match.
Now he's got to go through 2 Lukes.
Yeah.
To get to the final, and then guess what? You're probably gonna get rewarded by playing either a really hot Chris Dobie or MVG. It's not that he can't. It could be like
the toughest path.
He could have the toughest path imaginable.
Yeah,
him and Gerwin Price.
Yeah,
and even if Gerwin Price beats Littler, which you could, you now got now you've got a really good Gerwin Price to go up against. Like he's just in the absolute worst draw, I think, of anybody, which is why it's so high. But this is kind of when you want to take people, though, is when they're like I don't see any value. Even though Littler won last week, he was at what, plus 190?
Yeah, now it's down to plus 165.
Jesus. He's 160 right now. Like there's just no value there, even though he's a big fave on each match. Like you can in the Premier League. You're getting 3 tough matches either way you look at it.
Yeah, and even though as much as I felt like weekly Premier League, anything can happen. You're not surprised if any of these guys win, but we haven't seen that playing out just yet. It's been a lot
of chalk.
Yeah. So
been a lot of chalk.
Last week, if Rob Cross could have only held on, maybe we would have seen something different. But
exactly, and after that, Littler ran off something like 10 straight legs or like 8 straight legs, after he went down 5-1. So that's the beauty of the Premier League, though, right? Anything can happen in this.
I'm excited for week 3 now.
We're week 3 in Dublin. I'm excited too. This would be a good one, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I'll have to have a Guinness on hand ready for this one.
I got news for you. I went right to the Scotch after that cross last week. Last day, it was straight.
Well, it was fitting. Scotch. It was fitting.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. I probably should have had it before.
Drink of the region. So.
Yeah, so you're right. Guinness this week. Certainly not Jameson. But yeah, so that's actually going to do it for us this week. Hopefully we get a little bit luckier with our bets this week than we did with Rob Cross, but we gave you our favorites, and I think our number one is Dobie over 95.5. Definitely that's going to be our best one. So all right, so for Jonathan Sokol, it's Justin Wagler. Hope you enjoyed the podcast, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Right. Bye.